Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 1363 for the 17th of November of the Ukraine war, or the super slow motion operation in Ukraine. So we're going to go into the Kherson front. No reports being reported over this sector. We go on to the Zaporizhia front. At the Zaporizhia front, we have actions mentioned in the Kayamsky sector. So this is Kanyamsky. Over in the Kanyamsky sector, Russian forces attack over in Stepnohurst, and over in Primorsky. So mainly that's the operations as usual. This is the operations moving in the direction of Zaporizhia city, which is over there along the Dnieper River. Oh my god, let me move my stuff. Yeah. Okay, so that's all from this sector. Zaporizhia city is over here in the north. Moving into the Orikhiv sector, we have fighting being mentioned at Bilokhaya as well as Orikhiv. So we still have mentioning of Bilokhaya, very interesting, but let's wait for more information. We move on to the Huyaipole sector, where the Russians' main offensive is currently happening. We have fighting reported at Vysoke, Zeleny High, Uspenivsky, Yablukove, Rivnopilia, Solotke. This is Krasnohorsky, Zlachoda, Razdisny. Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of NECHAIVKA. Fighting is also is mentioned over in Oktyabrsk. What is this? Otapivsky. So Otapivsky, and Russians also announced the capture of Krapishne. So Kripishne. So that's the and some weird reports of Russians attacking at Berezove is mentioned. This shelling is reported at Vozdvizhivka. Anyway, the Russians are still ongoing. They are attacking, wrong color, use this one. They are attacking in this direction as well as to straighten the front line along the Zeleny High or eastern part of Huyaipole. That is still ongoing. Flanking operation continues. It seems the announcement of the capture of NECHAIVKA is shocking. If you ask me, this came suddenly, which means the Russians have cut the road. They are likely to go to swing south, I think, and create a second front for the Ukrainians. So now the Ukrainians have to deal with this, and then now they have to deal with the north. So it's going to be like a second direction that they need to worry about. So I think this is the main action that the currently this situation is going on for the Ukrainians at the Huyaipole sector. Moving further up north to the Komar front. So let me see, how do I fit in everything? Probably like this. So and the arrows. This is that is over. So yeah, almost everything is already gone. So Russian forces announced the capture of Hai. So Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Hai. This actually corroborates the mapping that we gotten. And fighting and the Russians moved up north of Oleksievka, off north of Voshchayne, moving in the direction of Haike. This push is interesting. This is moving in the direction of Oleksandrivka and Perovsky. So that is the other operation moving in this direction. Russians are attacking at Sosnivka, Vorone. Probably this is just Ukrainian counter-attacking or clearing operation. Similar situation over in Zeleny High and Ivanivka. Similarly, I believe the Ukrainians are conducting a counter-offensive around this sector here. Probably very limited ones. Also, clearing operation is still ongoing. Fighting is reported at Filia, moving in the direction of Novopalivka, where the battle for Novopalivka has begun. Ukrainians are still mentioning about Dashny. So yeah, so this is a main offensive. These are all static. This is a flanking operation. This is a secondary flanking operation around the Lisny forest. And this is pushing in the totally opposite direction, deeper into Dnipropetrovsk. These are all, of course, pretty big arrows. We need to wait and see how they develop. I mean, it is possible. My camera is shaking a lot. earthquake. Okay, so that is actually the camera is stuck with my mouse table. So anyway, yeah, I have a very unique setup on my computer. So I think which is why, you know, I think you will never imagine. You will know if you follow, if you are a Patreon member, if you support me on Patreon. I did show how it looks like, the setup. So, you know, yeah, you will probably see it's a very unique setup. It's not normal, because I'm not normal. And yeah, so over in the Pokrov front. Let me see, is there anything up north? Or there is something. Okay, so this is Pokrov city. This is Minograd. Strategic situation actually is the same. Fighting is reported at Molodetsky, Udashne, Kotline. Russian forces are still fighting in Pokrov, particularly in the northwest and the eastern part, fighting at Rivne. Ukrainian forces counterattack at Hushine while the Russians are clashing against them. Russians are attacking on the from largely in the south at Minograd, probably some pressure in the north as well. Fighting is reported at NECHAIVKA, Chevenet Liman, Rodinsky, Belitsky. And also Manyat. Belitsky is pushing towards Dobropilia. This is a flanking operation. There are no more news regarding this flanking operation for now. As I mentioned, this is very difficult to hold, because no, it is pretty distant, and because I believe it's coming from the east, it's super hard to hold. If it's coming from the south, it's going to be holdable. Because there's a lot more fortifications in just south of their position, but I don't believe the Russians actually took those fortifications, which is why, which is why I think this is going to be limited. Airstrike, I believe. Airstrike on the Ukrainian positions in Minograd that happened. The battle for Minograd continues. Battle for Pokrov continue. Pokrov is still not fully captured. It is what it is. And this is a static line over at Molodetsky. The previous push allegedly moving towards NECHAIVKA. No, it's not. It's not a thing. So this is not a thing. So yeah, that's the current situation in Pokrov. It's still the same strategic situation. If you have been following the DPS SITREP every day, you will know that this is pretty much standard stuff. So moving up to the northern flank of the Pokrov front, or we have flirted with the idea of calling this the Dobropilia front. Fighting is reported over in Sofievka. Torske is mentioned, and Rusinya, but this is also part of the Konstantinivka front. You can see it's pretty quiet right now. Russians generally want to take out this entire chain of settlements, but so far, not much news. Ukrainians mentioned fighting at Mayat, so maybe the Ukrainians are counterattacking into this sector here, which is not going to be a surprise if they do. So the Russians are holding them, I guess. So that's the situation here. It went quiet. The previous SITREP, there's so many places mentioned, then suddenly all went quiet. So definitely, a false alarm for sure. Moving into the Konstantinivka front. So we move into the Konstantinivka front and pushes all this over there. So Konstantinivka, we still have no more reports at Shibinivka. So I wonder if this is really the end of the Shibinivka story. Like, this is very, very unusual for the Ukrainians to not talk about this. So fighting is reported at Yablonivka, fighting at Konstantinivka, Priteshny, and Stupovsky. So strategically, this has simplified a lot. It looks like the Russians have basically taken off this position. This is all gone. This is all under Russian control. The Russians are now focusing on creating the southern wall. And they have basically consolidated both Stupovsky and Priteshny, which means they're going to start to push to create the eastern wall. And Yablonivka is still a static line, so is Rusinya. But so that is the current situation in Konstantinivka. It looks very simplified right now. It's no longer the chaos and mess and parallel universe that we understood previously. So take it for what it's worth. Happy birthday to you if your birthday today. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Take it for what it's worth. But the happy birthday, I'm not talking about the Konstantinivka front. No, I'm just talking about happy birthday. So, moving on to the Bakhmut front. That's so lame, man. Come on, make better jokes, Wyatt. What the hell? So this is Kramatorsk. Just the strategy view. The Donetsk region, the Ukrainians held positions right now. The two biggest city right here in under Ukrainian control is Sloviansk and Kramatorsk. This is the crown jewel of captures if other than Zaporizhia city, if the Russians is able to annex based on the places that they supposed to annex. And this is and I don't think the Russians are going to push directly for it. There's smaller cities that I think is pretty significant. We have Liman, we have Konstantinivka, we have Pokrov, Minograd, and Topolpilya. After these captures, I think in the rear there is really not that much significant places for the Russians to capture. So yeah, just a bit of an overview. Moving into the Liman-Siversk front. And the Liman-Siversk front, this is Lemon, this is Siversk, and together, Liman-Siversk. So Lemon-Siversk front, I have a pen, I have a pineapple kind of story, I have a pen, I have an apple. Apple pen, Shelling's reported at Raihorodok, fighting is reported at Fedorivka. Geolocation of Russian forces entering into Siversk. This is actually pretty significant. And the northeastern war seems to have been completed with fighting reported at Sibryanka and Doronivka, Yampil. And the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Platonivka. So if this is true, which means the Russians have been fighting at Platonivka and they have captured this sector after this offensive, which means they are going to go for Zakitny and then probably Ozarny, or goes to Kryvlyuka or Kalinki and whatever. They could potentially go to Raihorodok, Centrivka, but in the long run, this is like a months ahead. But yep, so which means the battle at Yampil might still be ongoing. I mean, because if Platonivka, the capture is indeed real, then that means Yampil probably is still under battle. So there is so Siversk is in deep trouble. This is in deep trouble with the Russian forces doing the pincer on it. Tentatively it's not offensive, I guess, but the south getting penetrated is a problem, and the southern offensive operation at Fedorivka is still ongoing. So that's all from the Siversk front. Moving into the Oskil front. At the Oskil front, we have fighting only at Novy Maya, Drobisheve, and Zarishny. That's all. That's all that was mentioned. Nothing particularly new. This is a static line. Drobisheve is to aim towards Yarova later. And Zarishny is probably just trying to push in the direction of Stavki, to push the front line forward. But Ukrainians are holding it. So yeah, that's all from this Oskil front. We move on to the Borova front. Nothing reported here. We move on to the Kupiansk front. So at the Kupiansk front, there is Ukrainians counterattacking over in Velika, Shapkivka, as well as Blahodativka. Russian forces is still battling over in Kupiansk. No idea what the hell is happening in this area right now. The intel just dropped off the cliff. Fighting is reported at Petropavlivka, Kurilivka, Pischany, and Stepova Novoselivka. So the Russians still trying to consolidate this position as they push in the direction of Kupiansk Voslovy. No idea what the hell is happening at Petropavlivka, and no idea what is happening at Kupiansk. So situation is very foggy. We do not know what the hell is happening. So fuck you, and I'll see you guys into the Vorezhna front. And yeah, fuck you. Load map load. Okay, I need to refresh. Okay, it loads. I threatened to refresh and it. Okay, I'm going to refresh. So while it refresh, Twitter is down. Quite a number of things is down because of Cloudflare is down. Huge part of the internet has fallen. Total collapse. Due to the offensive of unknown hackers or just a slip of the hand that creates some faulty codes in the Cloudflare side of things. No idea what the hell is happening. But it does highlight how vulnerable the internet is right now, where a lot of things is interconnected and the map is no longer want to load. So oh no. So yeah, the Cloudflare is used to do to do verifications whether, you know, are you a real human or not human, kind of thing, by quite a number of services. And it falling is super unexpected. So the vulnerability, and deep state UA's mapping is actually affected by the Cloudflare, you know, collapse. So Russian announced the capture of Voronezhsk. We have confirmation of the capture through geolocations. Russians are advancing there, now moving towards Koloziazny as well as Punikove. So this fighting at Punikove continues. Very interesting. The operation right now for the Russians is to straighten the front line. Capturing Koloziazny will be pretty critical in allowing the line to be establishable, because, you know, if it's too near to Koloziazny, Ukrainians can just continue to launch attack from it. Then the line will be very hard to, you know, establish. As you can see, if I zoom in, you can see the terrain here is horrible, and which means the Russian forces should take, you know, all of these gully and valley regions and something like this, you know, or maybe with this forest here. But if the Russians do not take Koloziazny, Ukrainians can just continue to launch counterattacks, and it makes this line very untenable. So I think Russia needing to take Koloziazny is like, you know, it's going to be part of the game plan. Yeah, but it's a horrible terrain to fight in. We move on to the Kharkiv front. Kharkiv. At Kharkiv, there is shelling reported at Melanivka. I'm not sure if this is the correct Melanivka, but tentatively, you guys just got to pretend that's going to be the one. Over in the Voschan sector, battle for Voschan continue. Russian mapping shows that the Russians have made some advance. Oh my god, the lag is make some advance in that sector here. There's shelling reported at Zamalivka. The name used was Zosneve. I'm not sure if this is the correct one as well, but I do not know any others on the front line for now. So we just got to pretend that's the one. No. And yeah, pretend. And we move on to the last front line, the Sumy front. The Sumy front is, of course, as usual, this is a static line. Fighting is reported as Novosich, Oleksievka, what is this? Kondrativka and Katerinivka. But this is a static line. I don't expect too much from this sector, and that's about it. So this is the summary for the day of 1363 for the 17th of November. So thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe. Happy birthday. No, I already said happy birthday, so no more happy birthday. No, you should have a sad birthday. No, too bad. That's it. No, yeah, happy anniversary if you have wedding anniversary today. What else? Yeah, that's it. No, and see you guys in the next update. Bye bye.